So far we have found in the revelation many of the forces which are active in the body. These range from the mystical influences of the planets through basic earth elements, air, fire, water, earth, and their activities, to will and memory as a basis for all reactions, and finally to the natural animalistic natures and their functions which are capped with our emotions. These forces do not comprise the full range and variations of activities covered. For instance, the spiritual and psychological, mental ramifications of all activities are only partially considered. One body factor partially considered is the operation of the mind. It seems evident that the mind is the primary factor behind all we have considered, yet it has so far only been in the background. In Revelation 10 we proceed with the various forces working through the body, only we now focus upon one of the operations of the brain, more particularly the mind working through it. We have not forgotten that we are still dealing with mental concepts of time and space as well as memory. Revelation 10 verses 1 to 6 deals with understanding in relationship to the meaning of ideas, and hence our sense of time. The implication is that, when we have been tried by all of our ideas, desires and purposes, so that we have learned to stop weighing the pros and cons of them, and go with whatever happens, we realize that there is no need for trying to understand. The understanding we need is presented in whatever is happening. We will live by faith, accepting all things, and our sense of time is no longer needed. Later on in Revelation 10 John experiences the learning process.
And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire.
We interpret correctly the angel described in Revelation 10, with a little book, as a guardian of the book of knowledge. This is a very good interpretation, or we come to that point in the experience of each soul. Know ye have passed through the experiences of attaining to the understanding of thine emotions, the understanding of the needs of thy physical body, the understanding of thy relationships to the spiritual forces, and know ye come to that which is to be. What would ye do with that knowledge? It might be said, or interpreted as the guardian force, for as is understood by each and every one that have studied in these influences or forces, all force, all power, all knowledge, constructive, is from a one source, is it not? Then the guardian force is that ability to use or abuse that which has been combined in the book, or the body, see, as an illustration of that, as a parallel of that. Know ye have gained these, know ye are to use these in thine own experience. A mighty angel coming down from heaven is an influence coming to awareness. The conscious mind activity. This influence is a part of the action of mind itself, an enlightening factor in the conscious consciousness. This angel is the sense of time. Time is a mighty influence and operates under the sounding of the sixth angel, which is related to the pineal gland activity. The conscious mind. Every force or vibration is sensed by the brain as color or various shades of color. Colors are directly related to the operation of the endocrine system and the planetary influences in the readings. The face was as it were the sun is the source of all light and life. And by its light, as the light of consciousness itself. Consciousness radiates its state of awareness.
And he had in his hand a little book open. And he set his right foot upon the sea, and his left foot on the earth.
Revelation 10 verse 2 represents the brain and its activities through portions of this system. The book may be the body. A book of memories stored in the body. The book being opened means it is now understandable by reading it. By recalling memories at will. And this also means the memory of how the creative forces work. Is the little book described in Revelation 10. Power of creative thought. As has just been given, it may be that of the whole influence or that of the body itself, or, yes, that of creative thought itself, for these are one. What is meant by the four angels bound in the river Euphrates in connection with the sounding of the sixth angel? Each reference in the revelation is to some portion of the body as in its relative position to the emotions physical, mental, material, and their activities through portions of the system, as places that represent conditions in some phase of manifestation or development of the entity. Or the whole, to be put in another way and manner, is an experience of an entity, individual, through its relationships, its study, its application in the material world, and illustrated by influences or forces in the body, and by places or conditions in the experience of man as known to those who were being spoken to by the writer.
And cried with a loud voice as when a lion roareth. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices.
The voice of the angel is a loud and commanding one, especially as time is a function of mind as well as body reactions. The influence of the life forces moves through the endocrine system.
And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not.
A voice from heaven, another state of consciousness, told John not to write what he received in his physical mind.
And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven, and sware by him that liveth for ever and ever, who created heaven and the things that therein are, and the earth and the things that therein are, and the sea and the things which are therein, that there should be time no longer.
In becoming the Son of Man, Jesus met, remembered and spiritualized all memory cells and saw that their essences were all one and the same. Then he became one with the creative forces and did nothing of himself. But it was the Father, God, which did the things he did. Thus for the Son of Man and John, time as we know it no longer exists, for all things are known as one thing, holistically, and there is nothing but God. That is why John was told not to write these things, because no one would understand it. Remember that mind and man cannot change the past. We must as prodigal sons make the decision to return to the Father, and this can be done only by remembering all that we have done. The past, which is the way we have come, and is also the way back. Remember, we are still working with the sounding of the 6th angel, and only one woe is past. We are still working on knowing the 2nd woe, which is called space. The thunderings are memories which we are not yet ready to face. These are possibly those unconscious ones from past Earth lives. These would be the only ones we could remember, because between life sojourns are spent in planetary influences, in which there are diverse dimensions of awareness, all apparently different from that of the Earth plane. These are part of the soul memories. Subconscious. Superconscious. Which cannot be expressed in the 3rd dimension, hence they are incomprehensible here on Earth. The 7 planetary influences have their own language, and we know them as urges and influences, but we are not directly aware that they are the ones that are affecting us.
But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets.
This verse introduces us to experiences that must be lived before we can get the full impact of what spatial implications are involved in the full opening of the memories and activities. Under the influence of mind there must be choices made for which we must be responsible to come thus to know patience. Patience as used here is the measure of understanding of the purpose of a manifested idea. Patience is the measure of understanding of our responsibility for whatever happens to us, or the measure of our understanding of our responsibility for a manifested idea. The mystery of God cannot be fully revealed at this point in the revelation, for there are other considerations and things to know about ourselves before we can, as the saying goes, let go and let God. The mystery will be finished when the 7th angel shall begin to sound.
And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, and said, Go and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth.
Is the little book described in Revelation 10, power of creative thought. As has just been given, it may be that of the whole influence, or that of the body itself, or, yes, that of creative thought itself, for these are one. All that we are is the manifestation of that creative power operating in us.
And I went unto the angel, and said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said unto me, Take it, and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand, and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter.
What is the significance of John eating it up and of the verse, Thou must prophesy again before many peoples, and nations, and tongues, and kings? As illustrated in that is indicated, and as from the use of same. Know ye have it. What would ye do with it? It becomes part and parcel, by the eating up. It is very beautiful to look upon, very beautiful to be desired, but in the application of same at times very bitter. As is seen in the very manner in which, how did the sun in the earth become as an intermediator between sinful man and an all-wise, all-merciful God? By going through or experiencing, or in giving to, through the very sufferings in the body, the right, the purpose, the aim to be in that position. Now, man having attained same by this study must prophesy. Apply. Prophesy is apply. Before many and many experiences, in many ways, in many environs, in many lands. All of these are a part and parcel of same. How did he put it as he gave, I will bring to your remembrance all things, from the foundations of the world. Then as it has been experienced by those who have taken hold of, who have combined the book, that is the book of life, into the experience, it becomes within its body then a part and parcel of, and is to be expended in its relationships to the environs in that of prophecy, yes, in experiences before kings, yes, yea as beggars, ye as rulers, yea as those in authority, yea as those authoritative over. Think of how this is shown in the life of the Master himself. He that made man, yet under the authority and the will of man by the mere giving of self in the experience of passing through same. Not that these were needed other than, that it might be fulfilled, what? Prophecy, as had been given in man's search for God. Then as this has been found, as is illustrated here by John, in the taking of the book, and in becoming these, each then must pass in its experience through the same sources. We consciously or unconsciously ask to meet what we need when we say the Lord's Prayer. We say, Give us this day my daily bread. What happens is our daily experiences. Our daily bread. As there is brought to mind. By the angel. Those memories. The record of. Which we need to meet, those which we are able to digest. To digest means to make our experiences part of us, to fully understand them for our growth, and to fulfill the needs of the body. Physical, mental and spiritual. What really happens to us, day by day, is that we usually, though unconsciously, are asking each other to bring us what we need to know about ourselves. Our experiences show us by actions, words or in some manner, what in us seems to be insufficient. We then have the opportunity to accept them as they are and be thankful for their help to us. Or we can reject them and their reactions to our request for help, which any meeting entails, whether a person, an accident, or an incident, all of which we may either react to or accept. We buy our desires for what we want, reach for experiences that are sweet to taste, but bitter as we must live with. Digest. The results. The results become a part of us, which we, again, may call to mind. A memory. Hence the injunction to know thyself, as a guardian against making the same mistake over and over again. What we desire is usually what we reach for, but mostly only keeps us bound to the results which are a bitter pill to swallow. All are based upon what self wants instead of for others. Remember that all our reactions must pass through us as a creative process and this again creates memories. unless such reactions are not by self. Then the formed reaction is under grace, and we are not influenced by it. Hence a thank you, Father is always in order regardless of what happens to us.
And he said unto me, Thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings.
To prophesy means to apply what we know. Before many and many experiences, in many ways, in many environs, in many lands. It is by application of our acceptance of responsibility for both memories and happenstances that we eventually come to realize what Jesus meant when he gave. I will bring to your remembrance all things, from the foundation of the world. The memories held by us in the body cells must be spiritualized. Memories too, must be cleansed and spiritualized as we accept responsibility for them. Such memories as spoken of are those strongly held and fixed ideas which we have accepted as being the way to react in many situations. The kings and tongues which we bow down to, all within us,